Hello fellow gardeners and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. If you're watching this, chances are you've experienced the heartbreak of pouring your time, energy and resources into soil that just won't respond. You plant with hope, you water faithfully, you wait expectantly, and yet your garden rewards you with stunted growth, yellowing leaves, and disappointingly meager harvests. Today, I'm going to share something that might sound almost too simple to be true. A centuries-old amendment that's probably sitting in your fireplace or fire pit right now, just waiting to breathe new life into your exhausted earth. This is about transforming desolate, unproductive soil into a vibrant, fertile paradise using something most people toss away without a second thought. Before we dive into the solution, let's talk about what's actually happening beneath the surface when soil stops performing. Dead or dying soil isn't necessarily soil that lacks organic matter alone, though that's certainly part of the equation. What we're really dealing with is a complex imbalance that locks away the very nutrients your plants desperately need. Perhaps your soil has become too acidic over years of rainfall leaching away alkaline minerals, or maybe intensive planting has depleted key elements faster than natural processes can replace them. The result is the same. A growing medium that can't support the microbial life and chemical reactions necessary for plant vitality. Your tomatoes develop blossom and rot, your leafy greens turn pale and spindly, and your flowering plants refuse to bloom with any enthusiasm. This isn't a failure on your part as a gardener, it's simply soil crying out for specific minerals it no longer has in sufficient quantity. So, enter wood ash, one of the most underappreciated amendments in the gardening world. When you burn untreated hardwood in your fireplace, wood stove, or outdoor fire pit, you're left with a concentrated source of minerals that were drawn up from deep in the earth by the tree's root system over decades of growth. This gray-white powder is packed with potassium, typically ranging from 5 to 7% by weight, making it comparable to many commercial potassium fertilizers. But potassium is just the beginning of the story. Wood ash also contains substantial amounts of calcium, often 15 to 30%, which is crucial not just for plant cell wall development, but also for moderating soil pH. You'll find magnesium, phosphorus, and an array of trace minerals including boron, copper, zinc, and manganese. These aren't synthetic additions, they're naturally occurring elements in their most bioavailable forms, ready to integrate seamlessly into your soil ecosystem. So, the magic happens when these alkaline minerals begin interacting with acidic soil, gradually raising the pH, while, also replenishing the nutrient bank that years of gardening have depleted. The effectiveness and safety of this technique, well, it really hinges entirely on using the right kind of ash. You must only use ash from untreated natural hardwoods like oak, maple, ash, birch, or fruitwoods. Never, and I cannot stress this enough, use ash from pressure-treated lumber, painted or stained wood, plywood, particle board, or any wood that's been chemically treated. These materials contain heavy metals like arsenic, chromium, and copper compounds that will contaminate your soil and potentially your food. Similarly, avoid charcoal briquettes, which contain additives and binders, and never use ash from burning trash, cardboard, or paper products that might harbor inks and chemicals. Once you've collected ash from a clean source, allow it to cool completely, which can take longer than you might expect since ash is an excellent insulator. Store your cooled ash in a metal container with a tight-fitting lid, kept in a dry location. Now, it's important to remember that wood ash is incredibly hygroscopic, which means it'll just soak up moisture from the air. If it gets exposed to dampness, it'll actually turn into a cement-like mass, so you really want to keep it dry. Before you even think about spreading a single handful of ash, you absolutely must test your soil's pH. Seriously, this is a step you can't skip. This step isn't optional or something to skip just because you're eager to see results. Wood ash is highly alkaline, with a pH usually between 9 and 13, and it will raise your soil's pH significantly. If your soil is already neutral or alkaline, adding wood ash can push it into territory where essential nutrients become locked up and unavailable to plants, a condition called nutrient lockout. You can purchase an inexpensive soil test kit from any garden center or online retailer, and the 15 minutes you invest in testing will save you from potentially serious problems down the road. For most vegetable gardens and ornamental beds, you're aiming for a pH between 6 and 7. If your test reveals acidic soil below 6, wood ash becomes your ally. If your soil tests above 7, look to other amendments like sulfur or organic matter to address your specific needs. So, assuming your soil test confirms you're working with acidic conditions, it's time to apply your wood ash, but, with a measured hand. The general guideline is approximately 15 to 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet of garden area, applied just once annually. For most home gardeners, this translates to about 1 to 2 cups per square yard, or, roughly 10 to 15 pounds per 100 square feet. Spread the ash as evenly as possible across the soil surface, then rake or lightly work it into the top 2 to 4 inches using a garden fork or cultivator. Fall application is ideal because it gives the ash several months to react with the soil over winter, integrating thoroughly before spring planting. If you're applying in spring, do so at least 2 to 3 weeks before planting to allow time for the initial chemical reactions to stabilize. Always apply on a calm day to prevent the fine powder from blowing away, and water the area thoroughly after application to begin the incorporation process and minimize dust. For those who prefer a more buffered approach, incorporating wood ash into your compost pile offers excellent results with less risk of over-application. Add thin layers of ash to your compost, roughly 1 shovelful of ash for every 6 inches of compost material, mixing it thoroughly so it disperses throughout, rather than concentrating in layers. The ash helps neutralize the natural acidity that develops during decomposition, while adding its mineral content to the finished compost. This method is particularly forgiving because the composting process moderates the ash's alkalinity and creates a more balanced amendment. When your compost is finished and ready to use, those minerals will be incorporated into a complex matrix of organic matter, humic acids, and beneficial microorganisms, creating a truly complete soil amendment. Within just a few weeks of proper application, you'll begin noticing changes that signal your soil is, really coming back to life. Plants that once struggled with weak, hollow stems suddenly develop robust, sturdy growth that's capable of supporting heavy fruit loads without even needing staking. The pale, chlorotic leaves that used to show nutrient deficiency will deepen to rich, vibrant greens as magnesium and other trace minerals, become available again. Flowering plants respond to the potassium boost with dramatically increased bloom production and, more intense colors. Root crops like carrots, beets, and potatoes develop better flavor and storage quality, which is really great if you want your harvest to last longer. Perhaps most importantly, you'll observe improvements in soil structure itself as calcium helps clay particles aggregate into larger crumbs, making drainage better in heavy soils, while also, interestingly, increasing water retention in sandy soils. The microbial community responds enthusiastically to the improved pH and mineral availability, multiplying and diversifying in ways that create long-term soil health. While wood ash is a valuable tool, it really demands respect and careful handling. The powder is caustic and can irritate your skin, eyes, and respiratory passages, so, always wear gloves, long sleeves, eye protection, and a dust mask when spreading it. Keep it away from acid-loving plants like blueberries, rhododendrons, azaleas and most evergreens, which actually require acidic soil conditions and will suffer in alkaline environments. So, here's an important tip for you all. Never apply wood ash near germinating seeds or transplants. You see, the high salt content in the ash can actually burn those tender roots, and we definitely don't want that. Now, moving on to another crucial point. One critical warning: never mix wood ash directly with nitrogen fertilizers. This combination triggers a chemical reaction that releases ammonia gas and, well, that's toxic to both you and your plants, so it's best to keep them separate. Finally, resist the temptation to apply more than recommended, thinking, more is better. Excessive application can create problems far worse than the deficiencies you're trying to correct, including micronutrient lockout and toxic salt accumulation. If you found this wood ash hack valuable and you're ready to transform your struggling soil into the thriving, productive garden you've always envisioned, well, you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed to the Humus Heritage so you never miss our practical, research-backed gardening wisdom. Hit that notification bell and, hey, share this video with fellow gardeners who are fighting the good fight against tired, depleted soil. Drop a comment below sharing your wood ash experiences, your questions, or your garden's transformation story. Together, we're building a community of gardeners who understand that healthy soil is the foundation of everything that grows, and sometimes the most powerful solutions are the simplest ones, hiding in plain sight.